Hello and welcome back to the A3 Footy podcast. My name is Alex Catalano and I hope you've been enjoying the trade week as much as we have. I'm joined once again by Alex and Miller.
G'day gentlemen, how are we both?
Not too shabby, and Mr. Alex Doherty.
Hello lads, hello. Big show today. I mean, there's a lot of trades already done within the first few days. Free agency moves as well. And Mark Robinson's top 50 came out overnight as well, so I think we have a lot to talk about.
We'll be
today.
covering that later on. We've gotten some viewer messages in actually this week.
Yes.
Doc's very keen to read these out.
Yes, for the first time ever in A3 Footy podcast history, we have emails.
Oh boy.
And
we're fans.
We haven't even given out an email.
Yes.
And they somehow still got it to us.
Yeah, incredible.
What a surprise.
Well, I've sneakily handed out emails to the right people. I've got an email. It's funny because both these emails are about your ridiculous call last week about Daniel Menzel being done. Cret Burke has written in and he says, Kat, you are one unique individual. You're one unique individual. Your call about Menzel was honest and authentic. However, I didn't think you got it right and I don't agree with it. But it's okay. I know that you care about the game and that you love the footy. And here's one. Here's one from somebody called Danny M, which is quite ironic.
Oh, yeah.
But he also says you have no idea. The other boys are right. That's meaning me and Miller.
Yes.
And that the other boys are right. He averages about 2 goals per game. How dare you, Alex Catalano, call out a man who's kicked 40 goals last year and kicked 27 goals in a dozen games this year. Lazy maybe, but he's definitely not past it. And then there's something here that I can't say.
It's choice words.
Yes.
Thank you for the feedback, lads. I'll take that one to heart, and I won't make any outrageous calls ever again.
I'll tell you what, some feedback's better than none, I guess.
Yes.
We'll take it.
Yes, we will.
Good feedback.
Lads, there's been some big news coming in during the week.
Yes.
Especially today, some big news broke about Dayne Beams. Although we had heard previously that he was happy at the Lions, he wants to come back to Victoria, specifically to the Pies. How do you guys feel about this one?
He's done the old backflip on Brisbane, which is a bit strange. I think we're all looking forward to Zorko, Beams himself, and then who's Lockie Neal, who they're acquiring. So it's going to be quite a formidable midfield, to say the least. And then you've got McCluggage, Rayner, all coming through. So, look, I don't know what you guys are probably a bit shocked as well, but I didn't expect it at all. And we were discussing before that it's probably not what Collingwood need right now. Another elite midfielder with the stacked lineup they have with Pendlebury, Adams, Side Bonham. Obviously got close to a Brownlow this year. Braden Sire looks like he's going to be a player.
Yeah.
It's been really, really interesting.
The question kind of is, where does he fit in the Collingwood midfield? Because, who do you take out from Side Bottom, Pendlebury, Treloar, Adams? Who goes out of that team? You can't really drop any of them.
As talented as Dayne Beams is, I really don't see him fitting in this Collingwood team anymore. It's harsh to say, but he made his own bed when he went to Brisbane 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's been a great player over these 4 years at Brisbane, but since then Collingwood have built their on-ball brigade and it got them to the grand final. Adams, Treloar, Pendlebury, Side Bottom. Sire looks like a really good player. So I don't understand why Dayne Beams wants to go back to Victoria. They're saying personal reasons, but I cannot see why Dayne Beams would want to go back to Collingwood. He is in contract, and it's going to take a hell of a lot. I remember Collingwood were very, very hesitant.
To give him up.
To give him up in the first place, and it took the farm from Brisbane to get Beams back to Queensland.
And
so
they're going to want the farm back, hey?
Yeah, this is going to be...
Can't have the farm twice, can you?
No.
You can't own the farm, sell the farm, then own the farm again.
The farmers will be filthy.
It's it's a strange one for me. I cannot see a deal getting done.
Doc just went blank there thinking about farm.
We got farming on the mind now.
I have very minimal knowledge about the farm.
Look, I don't think even Collingwood have anything they'd want to give up for Beams, to be honest.
No.
obviously they want those picks for guys like Quain and some of the younger blokes that they're looking for in the draft this year. But like, yeah, I don't see them giving up very much. There's not much they can give up unless they want to go with like, you know, future first and like a future second or something. What do you do about that? I don't think there's much you can do.
Look, I think like we said, he obviously Beams comes back Victoria. Collingwood would be the front runners, but I think obviously he's better suited to somebody like St Kilda, who recently missed out on big gun Dylan Shield, who we'll get to in a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Obviously Gaff didn't go to North.
Yes, that was the shock for us.
That was a real shock after I definitely called last week that he was going to go.
Yeah, he was 100%
so
gone.
I've delivered false information for once in my life.
For the very first time
for the very
on this
first
podcast,
time.
Alex Miller is wrong.
Oh, boy.
I just think North would be a good suitor probably with Aaron Hall.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to be a really good pickup for them when they acquire him. Jared Pollock's obviously a big land, so salary-wise it'll be interesting to see. But I think we all agree there, though, that he's an elite player, no doubt, Beams, but he just doesn't fit with the Collingwood mould.
No, he's not necessary.
He's not necessary.
The Pies should be chasing key defenders and things like that. They don't need Dayne Beams.
And especially if Tom Langdon's going to go to Sydney.
Yeah, the rumours were yesterday he was up there.
Yeah, he did a medical.
Yeah.
I can't see that happening though.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I don't love it at all.
It would
Keep Langdon at the Pies.
It would take something extraordinary, given the finals campaign that he's done, to for Collingwood to give up, and Sydney to get,
especially when their backline's the unit that they need the most help in. I
Absolutely.
suppose.
Yeah.
Still with the uncertainty of Tyson Goldsack still hasn't been re-signed.
Done out for the whole year as well. Sharon Berg probably won't get through a whole pre-season.
Yeah.
If Langdon does go, then Goldsack has to be re-signed at least for next year.
Certainly hope so, just for the numbers' sake and all that stuff. But so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Beams. I suppose the big curveball we just discussed before we started was Chris Fagan actually came out and said that he actually has no knowledge whatsoever that Beams has requested a trade. So I'm just going to ask you both. We'll start with Doc. Is this just Damien Barrett chatting a bit of rubbish, or is there some substance, do you think, to this story?
Well, Damien Barrett has had a bit of a habit of...
Bit of history.
Causing a bit of a stir in the camps. I know he's not too fond of the Bulldogs camp, and we were all aware of it. But
Steve-O sorted it out, though, I bet.
I think if it's true, then Dayne Beams has absolutely, I think, stabbed everyone in the back at Brisbane. Particularly after the BNF, what he said in the BNF, saying that he loves all the boys and he wouldn't dream about going anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, this is all, like, absolutely this should be news to Chris Fagan, because Chris Fagan's been told one thing, and now here we are, Damien Barrett's revealing that Dayne Beams wants to go to Collingwood.
It just doesn't make sense.
No,
and
it doesn't.
I know, Kat, you're very emotional about the topic as well.
Oh, I wasn't happy.
Very invested. But I think, like, you just summed up there, Doc, is that it just doesn't make sense. You literally commit yourself pretty much to the club and then throw the curveball. So, Kat, what's your thoughts?
He told pretty much the entirety of the Lions squad about a couple rounds out from the end of the year that he was guaranteed staying. He was running out his contract to the end of next year.
Yes.
It's just...
There was... I mean, I know obviously checking the footy players' Instagrams is not the best place to get 100% news, but he personally messaged and, like, called a few of them to say, mate, I'm staying. You know, like, how can you do that to your closest mates and then backflip and say, no, I'm actually leaving. I'm going. I lied to all your faces.
Yeah, this is going to get a whole lot worse before it all gets better for both Collingwood and Brisbane.
It's a big personal issue for me. Like, that's... Even if the rumours aren't true, I feel like there's at least a little bit of trust lost there, even if he was just talking to the Pies right after he said, I am staying.
Yeah.
Especially with a young group, you sort of look in the mirror a bit and go, well, who can we really trust? You can't trust a senior established player. And
it's not the thing the Lions culture needs right now.
Exactly right.
Especially when they're finally getting back into the swing of keeping these young guys that want to play footy in Queensland and want to play footy for Brisbane because they see them on the up. And now to suddenly have your former captain to say, I might actually be leaving.
Yeah, nothing's worse than uncertainty around a start. That's
I think it would destroy the Lions, like, inwardly, at least for a little bit, if Beams left.
Anyway, we'll find out all in good time, and we will keep you all updated.
Yeah,
yes,
I think we've still got a bit of about a week or so now.
Yeah, there's still a week to go in the trade period.
So, still a lot to play out.
A few teams have done some swapping of picks there was a big one today between Freo and Port Adelaide, which
Yes.
I don't think anyone really saw coming,
This is
which
huge.
saw the Dockers give up their pick 6.
Probably not even Port saw it coming.
A third, a third rounder for next year for Port's pick 11, 23, 30 and 49. Now, we were speculating before that those second round picks might be used in some way for the Rory Lobb deal. But considering that the D's were asking for Freo's they wanted 2 first rounders, which we assumed Freo were going to get pick 5 from Brisbane for Lachie Neale and then trade 5 and 6 to the D's. This throws a kind of curveball in the whole
Makes sense, though.
arrangement. What do you think about it, Doc?
Well, I think, first of all, this was a real stroke of genius from the Port recruiters because this year's Super Draft is going to it has quite a number of South Australian boys,
Yeah.
particularly that are going to go early. So for the Port to nab the 6th pick in the draft is huge for them. They're probably not going to get Lukosius that late.
Yeah.
I think of guys like Connor Rosie, Jackson Haitley will be another one that they'll consider.
Yeah.
Those boys can seriously play. For Freo, I can sort of understand why. Like you mentioned Rory Lobb before, I think one of 23 and 30 can get it done. Freo would probably be looking to trade away pick 30.
Yeah.
What do you get for that? For Lob?
For Lob.
Yeah.
I think that's...
I think the Giants are going to ask more.
Yeah, the Giants will ask more, but Freo would probably be keen to part with 30 rather than 23. This also opens up Lachie Neale going to Brisbane.
Yes. Because they might want that first round pick just to have one in the first place,
Yeah.
or to get one to Melbourne.
They'd probably trade away pick 6
Yeah.
with the knowledge that they're probably going to get pick 5 from Brisbane.
So you think
And-
that means a Neale deal is very close to being done?
You'd have to say so. Like Brisbane have made it. Freo have made it clear that they're not just going to be satisfied with pick 5. They're going to have to give up a second rounder or something like
I
that.
think maybe.
So do you think then they hold on to say the Lions want more and they say give us, we get not the Lions. Freo wants more and they say give us pick 5 and give us your first rounder for next year, and the Lions say sure, you can have that. Now we get Lachie Neale. Do you think then they trade that pick 5 and the first rounder of 2019 onwards to Melbourne for Hogan?
I reckon they can.
Miller's nodding his head. He's shaking it.
Nah.
Doesn't reckon.
You go, Doc. I'll just let loose in a second.
I think a first rounder sounds suitable for Hogan. I reckon a future one is probably a bit better than say pick 5. I don't think Hogan's worth a top 5 pick at the moment, but his potential is still enormous.
The D's want a lot for him though.
Yeah,
It's going to be hard to negotiate with them on this.
they've
Apparently they're very keen for him to leave though, which confuses me as to why they're playing such hardball on him.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit of a head scratcher, but I think to give up, 2 first round draft picks might sound a little bit far fetched, but given that what Melbourne have been through with Jesse Hogan, I think that's probably what they're looking for is two first round picks. If that is a pick 5 when what they got for Neale, and say a future one for next year, that's probably what Melbourne will be aiming for.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to play out.
All right.
This is how the whole thing's going to go down.
He's got the way.
Right?
He's got it.
Freo are thinking, right? They're getting Lachie Neale for pick 5, right? Melbourne have declared they want 2 first-round picks for Jesse Hogan, right? Freo are going, we're not giving up 5 and 6 for Hogan. Let's trade for a later pick in the first round. So let's trade for 11, which they now have. Get 5 back from Brisbane, 5 and 11 for Hogan. And they still get a future from Brisbane, which they keep.
Okay.
That's how it's going to go.
That's the play, you reckon?
That's what I reckon they'll do. My question is to you, well, that's not really a question, it's just I'm just unaware of what pick Port have as well. What's their original pick? It will be...
I think it's pick 10.
So
Yes.
4 and 10, that's a nice... They've done well there.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll have pick 6 and 10, and they'll probably get them for the 2 South Australian.
Yeah, so I think Port have done a nice bit of business there and offloading the next 2 players that we're about to talk about.
Oh, yes, of course. Jared Pollock and Jasper Pittard both went to North Melbourne. No one really saw the Pittard one coming.
No.
Port had told a few players that they're out the door and need to find somewhere else. Jack Homch is another one who's currently talking to the Suns, apparently. So Port offloaded Jared Pollock and Pittard and pick 48, and they got back pick 11 and a future 4th rounder. For me, this is a really dumb deal on Port's part.
Yeah, Well, I think when you get the sixth pick in the draft, pick 11 kind of almost sounds like it doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, like, obviously they weren't planning to use it. They wanted to get it to Freo for that pick 6. And I mean, in the end, you can look at it as getting pick 6 for Polek and Pittard, which in the end is maybe a little bit better. But I think people rated Polek higher than that, and then throwing in another player alongside that is maybe a bit unders.
I definitely agree that North got the better end of the deal.
Oh, definitely.
Polek's a proven gun, and I think pick 11's adequate just for Polek. But to get Pittard, who has proven over the last couple of years that he can run, he can create off halfback, and I think he'll fit right in at North. And given that he's back home in his home state of Victoria, I think North really got the better end of the deal. Like you're getting two players that you know can provide run and carry in a team that is largely based on like inside mids.
Contested footy.
Yeah, you give up pick 11 for two outside runners, two really good outside runners. It's a great
which is what North really needed.
Yeah,
as we've discussed the past few weeks, North needed that outside run. They've got their inside midfield set at this point. They don't really need.
I think quickly just on that deal, I think Polak, like you just said, Doc, is a steal. But Jasper Pittard, we talked about a couple of weeks ago, All Australian back in 2016. I still think he's got plenty of footy ahead of him.
Yeah, he's got to have the potential there. If you have a year like that, it doesn't just wash away.
Yeah,
there's got to be some sort of...
That's exactly right. There's some sort of residue left, some dew on the grass somewhere. I still think best footy's ahead of him, and he's exactly what North need, a rebounding defender. You think they just recently parted ways with Ryan Clark, and obviously chose not to take Nick Newman, shows that they really want Pittard he'll probably play every week, I think, definitely.
Yeah, I think Doc said before he reckons he'll play at least 15 games.
I think he'll play
in
every
the
week.
In the blue and white.
He'll probably play more.
Yeah,
I think so, because it shows like Newman's a good player as well. I rate him, and so does Cat. But I think that the fact that they didn't go for him shows that they're willing to put Pittard as that spot with Marley Williams as those sort of rebounding, pushing defenders or halfback. Yeah. So to get him for a former All-Australian, less than 2 years ago now, for a future fourth round, it's not bad at all.
It's a steal, absolutely.
And Pollock's all class, we know that, and it's going to be good as we have Melbourne is to see him on Victorian stage, because we probably don't get to see him as much being playing for Port Adelaide, so it'd be good to see him.
I did see him actually this year, North Melbourne and Port Adelaide. I don't remember what round it was, maybe about round 12 or so.
I definitely did not watch that game.
Well, Polek killed it that game.
Yeah, he's all class, and just a steal for them.
Yeah, it's just watching him, the way he moves, he seems to always know where the ball is. He's got a bit of that. He's got that sense about him.
Not many players have it.
No, you want for that player on the outside who knows where the disposal is going to be coming from.
Yep.
We talked about Rory Lobb and Jesse Hogan. Obviously, there's still a lot to be done with that, but I think we've probably covered about what we reckon is going to go down for that.
I just want to... Sorry, Doc, before I interrupt you. I want to ask you, Kat, what is Lobb worth? Because Doc's just touched on 30.
Yeah, I raised before that the Giants would probably ask for both the second rounders. So I think Freo maybe might have to negotiate that down a bit. Maybe give them the 49 as well, 23 and 49 or 30 and 49.
I agree with both your points. I agree with what you're saying that the Giants want more, but I'm more with Doc. I think he's definitely not worth...
No, but they're going to overestimate it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is as well, you think about Freo, he's not really a necessity there. It's not like they got
They're
Darcy.
not dying for Ruckman.
Yeah.
Apparently he wants to play more as a forward. He doesn't want to play as a first
But even
Ruckman.
Then, you've got Matty Taberner.
We talked about how...
Cam McCarthy. Who's the other? Shane Kirsten's down there.
No, he won't play. He won't be playing.
Playing the back
but
line. And then Hogan.
It's going to be a very tall Freo team.
Bloody 5 talls down there.
Yeah, we can't...
Then Harley Bennell.
He's gone as far as reports are saying.
No, who's going to take Harley Bennell? Because
Hawks.
I did hear, Hawks giving them a
That's what I heard from my source, Catalana.
Yes.
Just
bit of catch up on that one.
Word of advice from the Hawks: just steer clear.
Steer clear. Yeah, I don't think it's worth the investment.
Clarko's going to reckon he can, whip the attitude out of him.
Well, I reckon
it's not even the attitude though; it's just he can't play.
I reckon
injury wise.
He played in the Waffle a bit this year, didn't he?
I reckon the Hawks have a bit of good history about players who have had like really bad injuries. Sean Burgoyne's the most obvious example,
and Jaeger,
of course.
But now Andrew Russell's leaving. He's going to Carlton.
Is he?
And he
Oh,
was
yeah,
their-
that's right.
He's the injury wizard.
Well,
Well,
your theory's gone down
The theory's gone down the drain.
Harley Bennell to Carlton. Let's go.
Oh,
Let's do it.
Carlton, yeah, look, that's...
Last thing they know.
Yeah.
I don't know
No.
about that for the Blues.
No, I reckon Mitch McGovern is perfect. for Carlton.
Great pickup.
Great pickup.
Hopefully you've been keeping up with the Instagram. We've been posting all
better
the
be.
news. All the news on the A3 Footy podcast Instagram, including that Mitch McGovern deal. For Solo also went to the Blues. There's not much to say about these deals. We've talked about the potential of those two guys.
I'm very huge on Fasolo.
Yeah,
for Solo replacing Matty Wright, basically, in there.
I definitely think that's a really smart move for Carlton. And if Fasolo gets a full year into his belt,
Goal kicker.
yeah, he'll give you 30 to 40 goals easy.
And you need someone down there to support the tools. You need someone crumbing. It's going to be interesting in Carlton's forward line this year, honestly. I can see if Jared Pickett's playing a few more games, he can be another small down there.
They were really high on him in the AFLX stuff, and then he obviously sustained that foot injury,
Unfortunately.
and it was terrible. But just quickly back to Faz, they've got him for peanuts as well. Like he's on a mil over 3 years, so that's what, 330k ish.
It's not much.
For a guy like you said, Doc, I think definitely could even be 40. Well, it's not going to get there as much, which is the only thing that will limit his scoring.
And he's not even that old yet. He's only 26.
So
Yeah.
I think about 26, 27, especially for those sort of medium.
This is the
forwards.
age range Carlton needed as well.
Yeah.
They need guys who are actually quality of that
Exactly.
age. I like Sam Kerridge as a player. I like.
Yeah.
But then you look at guys like Nick Graham and Jed Lamb, who, as much as they probably do contribute to the team, are still sort of making up the numbers in a way.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Nick Graham, I think, turns the ball over a lot. And Jed Lamb, well, he's at his best when he's annoying blokes, and that's probably...
He's the perfect matchup for James Sicily, but that's probably about it.
He's the perfect matchup for anybody who's got an anger problem.
I think, like you said, though, Kat, that's literally the definition of Carlton. You think of Jed Lamb and Graham, they're probably like 24, turning 25, and they just haven't. They're just
Lamb's
not
a
that
bit older,
extra
but
year.
Yeah.
Experience. Yeah, I think Jed actually now think about it, a bit older, but still, they're just missing those either 50 games or that extra year. And I think the Faz playing 101 games at 26 as well. I think he's really going to shoot up and have a huge year. And I think the only thing that will limit him will be how many times they can actually get the ball forward.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to Carlton. It's just going to be hard.
With such a young midfield.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's just going to take time. That's why I think, as we discussed, I think Michael Barlow would be a steal.
Yes.
yeah.
He actually
He
came
could
out.
go as a delisted free agent, couldn't
Yeah,
he? Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys saw, he actually came out and said last week that he wants to help Paddy Cripps.
Yeah.
He said he wants to
Just
get
to
some
have
of
a
the load
body
off him.
there. Just
Yeah.
someone that can, and as well guys like Paddy Dow, who they want playing in the centre bouncers. Like he's got no one there stopping him from getting smacked around.
Yeah, and they could even, the Faz did play on wing and on the ball a bit early days at Collingwood, so he could even, go up there for 5-10 minutes in games when they're not maybe getting the elite service that they want to for him forward. So I think, for me, that for Carlton, and probably out of all the free agents, I'm trying to think, besides Tom Lynch, I think that's probably the best bit of business there. Like, they're not even paying 350k for a guy that could potentially, for me, kick 50.
Do you think he's still got a lot in him?
I still think, absolutely.
I absolutely think so too. I think, what was it, a couple of years ago, I think he had a pretty solid year. I think he had about 30 odd goals at Collingwood.
He can kick.
So he can definitely give you 40 to 45. I think next year he'll probably get about between 30 to 40.
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
And if Carlton get a bit more, win more of the ball in the middle, and they have the upper hand,
Make
then,
it easier for him.
Yeah, that will make it easier for him and Charlie Curnow and Harry McKay, whatever we want to call him.
Mac.
Big H.
Gary Rowan going to Geelong, boys. I want to get your thoughts on this because
Nothing. Doc thinks 61's too much.
yeah, I absolutely agree. I do not rate Gary Rowan one bit.
Is he just inconsistent, or the injuries, or what is it for you that?
It's his consistency problems, and he's played in, what is it now, 2-3 grand finals, and he has done literally nothing. And it's not just grand finals. He just doesn't do much. He just doesn't do enough for me.
Even Mitch Morton kicked 2 goals in the grand final.
Mate, you know
Like-
what he has done? He's traumatized me. Is what he's done. I'm never gonna forget.
Oh, that injury was.
Mark.
Oh, I thought you were.
Rowan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the injuries.
No.
Oh,
Oh, he has almost killed
He's had
himself.
He's had a rough
times.
footy career. Obviously, lost his daughter.
Yes.
Yeah,
like this season or was it last?
Yeah,
season?
it was during
yeah,
the
it was
year,
this.
yeah.
It was this season.
Had terrible sort of knee. That knee that was obviously.
There's obviously a lot that's set back his career, which is unfortunate. And look, who knows? Maybe going to Geelong, fresh start.
maybe be
it
a
does.
50-goal kicker down there.
It does some
Oh.
players well.
I'd
when
love
you
to
just,
If he does that, I'll eat my hat.
Can I get that in writing somewhere?
Well, yeah,
Gary
I'll
Rowan
write
gets
that
50
down to you
goals.
after the show. I'll have it in writing. Look, I think he still has the pace to be somewhat of a presence, but he just doesn't. He just doesn't do it enough for me, and that's the thing that really bugs me the most is that he has the talent to be, a game breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
For one reason or another. I get the injuries have crippled him, and we talk and I always think back to that broken leg that
That was
sparked
just shocking.
that sparked the that whole
Sliding rules
yeah
sort
whole
of change.
contact
absolutely.
below the knees debacle. But
Debacle is a perfect word.
absolutely,
Allegedly.
I just it's not even allegedly. But yeah, I think 61 is still too much.
Well, another bloke. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
Doc,
go
but
for
I
it,
think
go.
I think we've reached the end of
I was
that.
going to ask you a question actually
Yes.
about Gary before we move on quickly,
Yes,
Kat.
yes.
Is he better as a half-back or half-forward? Now, obviously, he's played most of his career at half-forward.
Yes.
We have seen Johnny, though, chuck him on the back line when they were very low on half-back numbers when Jeddah initially left.
Yeah.
Could he be someone for Geelong that breaks a line off half-back with
They
Zach
don't really
Tui?
have that much of that. Yeah, Tui's not really a runner, is he? He's
No.
just kind of booted out of
Really
there.
good distributor. So do you think maybe that's a new role?
What they need, possibly. Look, the Cats forward line could probably need some help anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like they're a bit low.
Like
on,
Daniel Menzel.
They're a bit low on the taller blokes. Obviously,
Oh, wait, no.
Tommy Hawkins is still down there. You'd hope Wiley Buzzer and
Wiley.
Buzzer,
what's who am I thinking of? The big ruck boy.
Ryan Abbott.
No, not Abbott.
Stanley.
No, who am I thinking of?
Radigalia.
Oh,
You'd hope
I love him.
Radigalia and
He's got to kick off.
and
That's
Buzzer
huge, yeah.
could get some game time next year. But they've also got the bloke Kruger from
Yeah.
South Adelaide who Carlton have
Freddie.
traded down to them.
Freddie.
Oh,
So
Freddie.
look, if Rowan needs to play in there, getting pace either end of the ground, I think he's good either end. I think they could even try him as a bit of a swingman if they
Yeah.
wanted to,
Yeah.
just because he's got that speed. And if that's what they need to do with him, maybe try and hone the skills back up over the off season. Make sure he's 100% with his kicking and everything, despite his knees and all that. And that could probably just solidify him a decent role. It's all up in the air. Like I said, change of environment can help so many players, and
Yeah.
you can see it happen with
And
Rowan.
just quickly before we move on, Geelong.
Yes.
I did hear yesterday that Zach Smith is possibly on the move to the Giants.
Ooh.
Obviously, fell
I
out
have
of
not
favour.
heard that one.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Ryan Abbott, Radigalia, and who's the other?
Stanley.
Stanley all sort of see to overtake him, and
Yes.
the Giants struggling for ruck stocks.
Mm.
Shane Mumford still said Wayne Campbell came out and said that Mumford still's got another 4 to 6 weeks to see where he's at. So do you guys think that could be viable? Sorry.
I reckon so. Even if Mumford doesn't get to GWS at the end of it, I think Zach Smith is a I think somewhat of a contingency plan in case they don't get Mumford.
He's a serviceable ruckman.
Yeah, I think he is very serviceable. Not amongst the best ruckmen in the game, but he's still
Do a job.
Yeah, he can still do a job. I reckon Ray Stanley has overtaken him as the number one ruck at
That's
Geelong.
the thing, yeah.
And I really do like Ray Stanley. I think he has the good build and good aerobic capacity to be somewhat of a menace in the ruck.
A menace.
Could have been a rampaging Saints if he
Yeah.
Yes.
Well. Speaking of rampaging Saints, Tom Hickey on the move.
Oh, yes.
On the move to West Coast.
He has.
I think what was it pick 39, along with a couple of future 4th round picks, and the Saints offloading pick 60 as well as Hickey to go to West Coast. What do you guys reckon about that one?
Look, Hickey's. I've never really thought St Kilda's rucks were ever really all too quality. They probably haven't had a good ruckman since they got rid of McAvoy, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. They've never really been able to rebound from that. So look, if the Eagles think they might need someone because Lycett's gone and Vardy might have to take it all by himself next year, then sure. Look, if it's what they need, it's what they need. But yeah, I think they're just filling a position, to be honest.
I just want to say, whatever St Kilda got in return for Tom Hickey is too much. I just think he's shown glimpses, Tom, and Gold Coast was one of the foundation players up there. But just for me, obviously big guys take a lot more to develop him. Could well and probably is likely to make me eat my words. Next year could have a huge year because Ruckman always take a couple of years to get their stuff together in the system. But for me, I don't really get it. I suppose the Saints have actually done well because they really like Rowan Marshall, but they do like him more forward.
Yeah, he's that forward.
I do like him, and I think Lewis Pearce is still out of contract, but he did play a couple of games on the back end of the year.
Not bad.
And they like the look of him.
Yeah.
And Billy Lawyer, he was sort of like you talked about, Kat, the ruck void hasn't really been filled. They put their eggs in the basket with him being a pretty high pick from Brisbane. Just hasn't kicked on, but he's also out of contract. So him and Lewis Pearce be interesting to see if they get a deal.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, like, you bring that up, like, just offloading Hickey just has made their ruck stocks all the more thinner. And you mentioned Longer out of contract as well. That doesn't help the cause one bit. So I don't know what St Kilda are trying to do with this. I think they'll be eyeing somebody off in the draft, surely.
I think so.
It absolutely boggles my mind how they can offload Hickey and have Longer still out of contract.
And Pearce still, yeah.
Yeah, and Lewis Pearce as well, who is probably more of a depth option at this point. But another thing that comes to mind is that Jordan Ruffhead, who was linked to West Coast all those weeks ago, it leaves him now with a big level of uncertainty.
Linked to the Saints, maybe.
Yeah, he could find his way over at St Kilda, but I don't think St Kilda have shown any particular interest in him. And like literally nobody else has really taken an interest in Jordan.
Oh, no.
I hate saying that because I love Robbie. He's a great bloke, but
Great bloke.
no,
I don't know
They're
him
best
personally.
mates. They're best mates.
I don't know him personally.
I've met him. Don't know him, but I've met him. But he's really really nice man.
Oh, that's what you want.
So
That's been lovely.
So I don't know where that leaves Jordan Ruffhead, to be honest. Could the Bulldogs offer up a 1-year deal as a bit of a depth option?
I mean, they possibly could. You never know. We've got some breaking news. We're taking a total
Not just
total off track from the trade period. We've had some rule changes come out.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the first I've actually heard of this. Obviously, the rule changes are being speculated, but no one really knew what they were going to be. So here we go. Let's run through these. We've got playing positions at centre bouncers. Clubs must have 6 players inside both 50-metre arcs with 1 player inside the goal square. And 4 midfield players must start inside the centre square with the 2 wingmen stationed along the wing. So this means late in games, we're no longer going to have players flooding the back line. You have to have 6 and 6.
What a load of rubbish, Kat.
That's the biggest change there.
I'm going to go. Right?
Right.
Ken Rayner made a post on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, saying that the game does not need to change. And we looked at the finals footy, and the grand final was a prime example. And for me, Steve-O also said as well, there's no need to change it. I think this is just human nature in general. Now we're going to get into philosophy topic. It's more like people just want to find something to complain about, legit, and it just really gets my gears grinding. To me, I don't see the point of that because for me, I don't mind someone coming off the back square and the back line and midfielder running through, charging through and trying to win the football.
Right.
So when is that? Is that only for the fourth quarter?
No, it's for the whole game.
So,
well, basically, the biggest change this is going to make is to flooding and that because, as we know, teams will late in the game usually flood their back line.
So my other question about it is the centre square stuff. So does it have
centre
to be...
square, I think, is basically the same.
That's stupid. So you have to start in the centre square, or you have to start. There has to be someone in the centre square.
So you need your ruckman and 3 pairs of players in the centre square. No, 4 midfield players must start inside the centre square.
What about the forwards?
The forwards have to stay in their arcs.
What about the full forward? They have to stay in the
stay
square.
In the goal square until the ball's bounced.
What?
Until the ball's bounced.
Yeah,
Okay,
so you have to start from the goal square.
Stupid. People are just going to stand on the edge of the square and then as soon as it's bounced, run 400 metres up the ground into the middle of the ground.
It's going to increase fatigue for the forwards and the back.
Fatigue. Maybe my head fatigue.
But I don't think it's going to increase their fatigue at all if they're staying at home.
You don't reckon they're going to run up and...
I reckon they will.
This is a sad state of affairs, this game.
Oh boy. Episode 8, this is a sad state of affairs. We've got our title.
This bothers me. I get that flooding in the game is a bit of an issue, and sometimes sometimes it does decrease the scoring value of these like big games. But honestly, like the AFL, it's just getting to the point now where the AFL is just changing rules for the sake of changing rules.
Exactly right.
Like
something to complain about. Legit. I don't see the point.
Can the AFL actually go one off season without changing a damn rule?
No.
Apparently, well, that's just the start of it, lads. There's 9 different rules that have been changed. At the kick-ins...
Have to kick through these.
At the kick-ins, a player will no longer need to kick to himself to play on from the goal square. Following a behind, the man on the mark will be brought out to 10 metres from the top of the goal square rather than the existing 5 metres. The way I see this going is that it's just going to mean more players are going to run out of the goal square as opposed to trying to kick it from fullback, because you don't need to play onto yourself anymore.
So you can just run.
You can just run out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changes all too much.
What's the point?
You'll just get players bombing it down a bit longer, really.
I feel like that's an unnecessary rule. Like, what does that actually achieve?
I think the AFL just wants to see what it's going to do.
Oh,
The only main change I can see that having is that we're going to get players bombing it out a bit longer.
I think you're going to have people, as soon as like the goal's kicked, forwards aren't. People aren't going to have. I think they're wanting zones not to have time to set up. I think fullbacks are going to go really quickly and just grab it and run.
Yeah, possibly.
They're not going to fudge around with it.
I think that's not a bad change.
It makes sense.
If you don't want zones set up, make the game a bit faster.
I don't care about the zones. So I don't see. Anyway.
Okay.
Isn't that what JLT's for? Like just to trial,
trialing.
to trial all these rules.
You're just taking the piss. That's what the jail says.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this is just one
Anyway.
huge.
Anyway, mark and free kicks in defence. When defenders mark or receive a free kick within 9 metres of their own goal, the man on the mark will be brought in line with the top of the goal square. So I'm not sure what that changes really.
No,
Well,
When defenders mark or receive a free kick within 9 metres of their own goal, the man on the mark will be brought in line with the top of the goal
So if you take
square.
a mark,
So
someone kicks it from right hand side.
So basically, I think what this is saying is that the defenders won't get forced behind the goals when they
What
get
if you mark it in front of the point post?
Then they get pushed out, I guess.
You get pushed in.
So you get
pushed back into the square.
Essentially, what happens, I think this means, is that the defenders will never be kicking from behind the goals.
But they're not going to. That's only if you. But if you mark it in front of the point post, right?
I think that's a confusing one.
I don't get. Does that make sense to you, Doc? Do you understand what I'm saying?
no.
So let's say Gary Rowan kicks it from right full forward across the goal, and Sean Dempster, who's not even playing anymore, takes a mark, right?
He's just out there.
3 metres from the goal line, but like the point line.
Yep.
Yeah.
He gets moved into the goal square.
Right.
That's what the rules
I think
say?
it means in line with the goal square, which means as in he'll be kicking.
On the angle.
Yeah.
No.
That's even more strange.
Yeah, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Anyway,
I'm not sure how this is going to... We'll see how this works,
we have to
I
speak
guess.
to Gil. We'll get Gil coming.
We'll get
Don't
Gil
worry,
on
guys.
This makes no sense.
Anyway, keep going.
The runners. Team runners may only enter the playing surface after a goal has been kicked and must exit before play restarts. That's good, I think.
Yeah,
Keep
you know
the runners
what?
out of the way.
I don't mind that rule actually.
Water carriers are not permitted to enter the playing surface during live play. So basically, no one can be on the field while play is happening except umpires and players.
You
I
know,
think that's
fair
fine.
enough.
You know what? I actually like
fine.
that rule.
That's
I do like that rule.
Yeah,
Do we agree with that? That's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep,
I do
pretty
like
much.
That. I do like that because it prevents stuff like potentially happening like Stevenson and Woodward, like how we discussed. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, how we discussed last week. You know, runners being involved in the play. I know Stevenson didn't actually, couldn't actually get there, but it's still like it erases the potential of that to actually happen.
Yeah.
I suppose the only thing is with the drinks people is I suppose if you're a full back and you've been defending for 10 straight minutes and you finally get a defensive exit, you can't wait until the ball's actually
Got to wait for a drink.
run out or even if someone takes a mark, you can't even grab a sipper. I'll have to have the hiking backpacks and have the little pipe run up your sip and have a sip while you're on the
Might be the solution.
Anyway,
Grab a sip.
Umpire contact. Players will be prohibited from setting up behind the umpire at centre bounces. I mean, that basically happens now anyway, so the umpire doesn't run into them.
stupid rule.
The umpire always tells them where they're going.
Yep.
So just don't go behind the umpire. I don't think there's much to discuss
Don't look at
there.
them. Don't go near them.
Don't even acknowledge
Don't
them.
acknowledge them.
Don't shake their hand.
Don't look at them.
Don't high five them.
Angus Brayshaw looking at you.
Yeah. 50-metre penalties. The player with the ball must be allowed to advance the mark by 50 metres without the infringing player delaying the game. So basically the way that other free kicks work, where if you don't give the ball back immediately or get out of the way, you're going to cop an extra free, I guess. I don't know.
What's the point?
We'll be able to play on while the 50-metre penalty is being measured out.
No.
No.
Don't like that.
That ruins it because you've got 90,000 people on a semi-final. Taylor Giroux taking a mark and Reece Conker's stand the mark, waiting for the umpire to set it. Taylor's gone off. He's
Mate, are you
30
saying Freo and Sydney are going to be in a final, are
Yeah,
you?
pretty much.
That's a huge one.
All right,
So-
all right.
No, but like, why would you even consider playing on from a 50-meter penalty, like whilst it's measuring?
Some people
out?
love that. I could see Jason Johannesson just casually rolling and then take you off at 300 kilometres an hour.
The mark probably wouldn't even be ready
They've
for it.
got if they've got that feeling they're at I've walked about 45 metres. They're about to set the mark. He's
off.
He's off. People are going to do that. I don't like that at all.
He doesn't like it.
Because everyone always just tracks back like a bunch of tired gazelles.
That's their time to rest, though.
Exactly. They can't have time to rest if he's running.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Like, if they're gonna, if he's able to play on, does he have to run off the off the angle? Does he have to run to an angle to actually play on, or
Just
can
make it up as you go.
or does he run straight forward?
Just do whatever you normally do when you're playing.
You have to ask Gil.
Yeah.
We got to get him on. We got to have a chat.
It makes no sense, this rule.
Of course it doesn't.
Kicking for goal after the siren. I'm interested to see what this is going to be.
Yeah.
A player who has been rewarded a mark or free kick once players ended will now be able to kick across their body using a snap or a check side kick. So that doesn't count as play on if you're going around the body, if you go off the mark.
I don't mind that.
But must kick the ball directly in line with the man on the mark and the goal. So basically you can't do like a run around him and then snap a goal after the siren, but you can go around the body.
Okay. No.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That's like an inconsequential change.
I don't think people are expecting them to be allowed to run around and play on.
No.
But yeah, all right.
But I like that. I like that they now have the option to snap around the body. Like, instead of, say if you're on the pocket and you have to have a drop punt from like the point.
But how are they going to judge that? You could take 2 or 3 steps though and be snapping around the body, or you could be a really small guy and take a little run up. So again, it's just going to be interesting to see how they monitor some of these ridiculous rule changes.
I think there'd have to be some sort of guideline there. Like, if you take more than 2 or 3 steps, then it's out. Then you're done.
And then but then someone says, I got little legs, I need to take more steps.
This is the one we probably heard about already. Marking contest, hands in the back, has been repealed. So a player can now place his hands in the back of his opponent to protect his position in a marking contest, provided he does not push. So you can put the hands in to kind of give yourself a bit of balance or positioning, but you cannot push the player.
There's your bombshell. That is going to be the worst.
Going to be hard to interpret.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the silly slide rule. Each week will be up and down.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, it's a free kick from taking the knees. No, you actually you didn't even win the footy, so it's a free kick against you. So silly, Gil.
Silly, you reckon?
Oh.
I'm going to get you, Gil, and speak to you about these.
I mean, this team's coming after Gil today, I reckon.
And this one has caught me completely off guard. Ruck contests, prior opportunity. A ruckman who takes direct possession of the ball from a bounce throw-up or boundary throw-in will no longer be regarded as having had prior opportunity. Where there is uncertainty over who is the designated ruckman, the ruckman for each team will still be required to know. So they're keeping nominations.
What a stupid.
And basically you cannot get caught holding the ball from grabbing it out of the ruck.
So you can't be pinned for holding the ball.
You can just grab it now and run off with it.
I mean, you
and
can.
maybe
If you get tackled after running off, I imagine you'll still get caught.
I don't know.
But
Apparently you can't.
it's not immediate. It's not that immediate anymore.
Why haven't they got rid of that stupid nomination rule? That is the biggest load of rubbish I've seen.
Don't know.
I agree.
Well, at least they didn't.
Third man up. I don't get that.
They didn't announce the red card. At least.
Thank
Which
God.
is good.
And it's good. It's good to see that they didn't put in the 18-meter goal square too. I think.
Yes.
I think that's.
Everybody would have been a bit up in arms about it. We'll quickly touch on. So Dylan Shield nominated Essendon.
Yes.
I'm very happy about that.
You should be.
I'm loving that.
What are they?
It's a big week for you.
I think what we're going to trade is our first round and the first round next year. I think that's going to be the go for a player of Shield's quality. That's probably about right.
Fair, Doc.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably fair. Like, Shield's probably one of the more classier ball users of the game.
Yeah.
To give up 2 first-round picks for him is probably good. Like, you got your GWS, you're going to get a pick 9 this year. Or I think it's pick 10 now. Pick 10 and future first round next year. And depending on where Essendon finish up, if they play well,
Top of the ladder.
if they play well, they'll
Yes,
probably
open.
get a first pick that ranges between, like, I don't know, 13 to 17.
Yeah,
Let's
so-
hope, hey.
And then
Lastly, we'll just cover Ben Long has been rumoured to have some interest from Essendon and Melbourne. I would like him very much. I think that's the reason why we're keeping Jake Long on the list, to be honest. Get his cousin over.
Harsh but fair.
he's a very talented young man, Ben Long. And
Mate, we talked about him in the 22 under 22. I think we had him in there.
I don't know who did the forwards. You did, didn't
No,
you?
I did the forwards. I don't think I had been.
Actually, no, he would have been
Wow.
out for too long. But I think we said if he'd played the year, he
Too
would have been
long
in there.
hat.
Oh,
Good one.
Struth.
We're going to quickly touch on this because we're running over our time limit. Mark Robinson has released
We
his
have to
top
plough through
50.
these.
We're not going to read out the whole thing. You
We'll
can
just-
look it up if you'd like.
We'll leave a
I'd-
link.
or-
on the-
Oh yes, leave
Oh.
a link in the description.
Or grab a copy. Grab a copy of the Herald Sun.
Don't grab a copy of the
Do
Herald.
you work for the Herald Sun? Are you trying to promote the paper?
Shelling out, the fact that you can't read
You
the
have
article.
to buy our newspaper.
Can't read the article online without.
Well,
paying for it.
I'm about as filthy as everybody else is that you have to pay for it. But so
Basically, we'll just say quickly the top 10 players. 'Cause I think that's probably the most important.
Yes.
Maxi Gawn made number 1, which is massive.
I think Miller agrees with that, and
Bloody oath.
and no complaints from me. I've still got it right. My top 50.
Oh well,
So-
we were all saying he could have potentially won the Brownlow, so I think
Yeah.
we all rated him that highly.
Yeah, no complaints from me about that.
We'll just run them through. Paddy Cripps number 2, Jack Rewalt number 3, Brodie Grundy number 4, Dusty Martin number 5, Tommy Mitchell number 6, Buddy Franklin number 7, McGovern, Jeremy that is, number 8, Steele Sidebottom number 9, and Clayton Oliver in number 10.
Well, I wouldn't imagine Mitch McGovern being number 8, would you?
No, you never know.
I reckon.
The one that we discussed before being a bit too high was Rewalt.
Yeah,
At least Doc was a bit put off by it.
yeah. I'm not going to say Jack Rewalt's had a horrible year. I think he's had a great year.
Yeah.
But
He did win a Coleman.
is he a top 3 player? I don't think so.
No.
You have him ahead.
I
of...
mean, he's the best forward in the league if he wins the Coleman.
Yeah, I agree, but
Because, you want optimally your best forward is kicking the most goals.
but you're going to have him ahead of Grundy and Mitchell and
Well, he is.
McGovern.
tough.
and-
So I am.
This is the time when we remember that this is one man's opinion.
But
put on-
again,
put
look
in
at
the paper.
there. 25 midfielders are picked in this 50 and only 11 forwards. So the fact that he's ranked, there's a big gap. So there's 4 gap between the next forward. And then
Yeah.
there's, the next forward is who here?
Next
Jackie
forward
Darling.
would be,
Jack Darling.
yeah.
So there's 3, 7, 16
And then
Tom,
DeGoey
and DeGoey and Tom Hawkins. So there's 4 forwards and the rest are midfielders and roughly.
in the top 20.
Rory Laird's number 12.
And a couple backmen as
Jeremy
well.
Govern's at 8.
Yeah.
Rance is at 15.
Again, though, the rest are... So
So I just want to whittle out a couple of players and their rankings at the moment and see if you guys agree. I reckon you don't agree with this one. Lockie Whitfield at 11.
no.
Alex Miller. I don't reckon I agree with that either.
Did win a BNF, though, so I'll shut up.
Best and fairest winner. Had a great year in defence in his first year in the back line, but I don't think he's deserving of a spot just outside the top 10. I don't.
Look, I would put Cornelio above him if we're just talking on the Giants alone.
I would put Cornelio ahead of him.
I think a lot of people severely underrated how good Stephen Cornelio's year was. And even Mark Robinson has underrated it. He should be almost up near the top 10, I would think.
I reckon so. Jordan DeGoey at 18. What do you guys reckon?
I think that's about right. I think DeGoey's shown that he can be that absolute game winner. Obviously, he doesn't do it week in, week out like some other players, and it was really more towards the end of the year where he really
Played.
struck out. And also
He did miss a
played.
couple of games. I don't
Yeah.
like that, how he's pushed up so high.
I think he just showed in his couple of games, even with the games that he missed, that he's good enough.
I think he was close to kicking 50 goals this year. He might have had kicked 50 goals by the end of the year. I reckon being in the top 20, I think he's thoroughly deserved a spot in there. Clayton Oliver at 10, I kind of like that because he is he's going to be a star. He's going to be a Brownlow medal winner in the future, Clayton Oliver.
Not before Angus Rocher is.
Can I just say that
So-
I think really stiff to miss this. Unless I missed him here before, I didn't see his pill. James Sicily,
No, I don't agree.
Barely played,
I
mate.
think
He missed a lot of
barely
games.
played.
He missed
Where's
a lot
Fife?
of games.
Is Fife there? No.
Fife didn't make it either.
No, mate.
Fife didn't make it.
Those are the two robberies, I would say.
Jake Lloyd didn't make it.
I think Sicily still deserved to make it.
Jake Lloyd didn't make it. That's a huge robbery for me.
That is a
Lockie
huge
Neal didn't make it. Ollie Wines didn't make it. Isaac
But
Smith didn't make
where
it.
is he? Kane Lambert made it at number 32.
I can't see Robbie Gray's.
Definition of underrated.
I can't see Robbie Gray's head in here, so I think he's pretty stiff to miss.
I think Devon Smith was too low. Number 39 is too low.
I think in between 40 and 30 is pretty fair for
No,
Devon
didn't even
Smith.
make the All-Australian team. You'd be lucky to get in the few.
I would put, alright, just looking at the blokes around him,
Was-
I would put Smith above Andrews, Stewart. Hell, I'd put him above, I don't know if I'd put him above Heppel for this year, but I think there's a few blokes around him he could probably go above.
I reckon.
He's above a few.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he's above a few. The rest of the competition.
there's a
Head
few,
and shoulders.
there's a few here that I like. I reckon Jack McRae at 23 is probably where he's at. Shannon Hearn at 29, I like. Callan Ward probably should be a little bit higher. I'd say probably closing in on top
We do
20.
love Callan Ward.
Angus Brayshaw at 31. I reckon that's probably around where I'd have him.
He's third at the Brownlow. How can you be 31?
Yeah, I would put him higher. Is there anyone you think missed unfairly, Miller, or...?
Not unfairly that I can think of off the top of my head. No.
And
aside from the blokes we mentioned.
No, I think Lambert's deserving. I think all the Richmond players in there. I'd have Grimesy a bit higher.
Yeah,
I
Grimes
reckon-
had a very good year.
I knocked him up to 40-ish.
Yeah.
I reckon Grimes would be pushing 30s.
Dylan Grimes is, probably a underrated batsman.
And I
Still is.
know we threw a bit of shade at Shane Edwards in the All Australian episode, but I think
I did.
Top 50 place he deserves to be.
yeah,
in.
I definitely think he deserves a top 50
That's
spot.
where he is, 47.
Yeah, 47, and Jack Redden at 46. I think I like that one a lot as well.
Red improved himself.
Josh Selwood's too high.
Yeah, Joel Selwood probably in there on reputation, probably the only
And
one.
where's Paddy? Is he on
Yeah,
the
Dangerfield
other
and
page?
Dusty I thought were both too high.
Dangerfield at 14.
I'd have Dusty somewhere from 7 to 10. I wouldn't have him 5.
Not fifth. He was not the fifth best player
I
this year.
agree. I definitely agree.
Mind you, quickly before we end the episode abruptly,
You can't end that abruptly.
my point exactly. Tom Mitchell finished 6th in this ranking by
Robbo.
the famous Robbo, who is the chief writer of football.
Yeah.
So again,
On the
it
Herald Sun.
reiterates that he was not the best player in the comp this year. The man with the beard was. Next
Yeah,
score.
I definitely agree he's not the best player in the league, but he's not.
But he won a Brownlow.
He won the midfield.
He would have to be in amongst the top 5. He'd be above Dusty.
He's not. He's 6.
He'd be above Dusty. I'd
But
have
he shouldn't have won a Brownlow. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with Dusty being between 7
No,
and
I
10.
don't care about this. I'm just
Well,
making my
all
point
right.
clear. Shouldn't have won a
Doc's
Brownlow.
making a lot of
Don't you
claims
reckon?
about...
Do you agree? Agree with me.
He's making a lot of claims about who would be where. You can check out Doc's top 50 at
Yes,
some point
Doc
at
is
adbulldogcentre.com.au. Is that the correct address? Is that what I'm...
.com.
.com, no
AD.com.
AD.com.
I reckon we should just have an episode where you guys just hang a lot of stick on my top 50.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Would really
If you tell me I have to.
Oh look,
Would
I'll
boost the ego to have a whole episode on his 50? wouldn't it?
I'll throw it out to you guys, and you guys can come at me with your claims,
Come at me, bruh.
with your claims and what you think's
That
right
Devon
and wrong.
Smith should have been number 1. Anyway, that is the end of this week's A340 podcast. We hope you've enjoyed all the trade news and these strange rule changes, which we'll see how those go at the start of next year.
Ain't they the most garbage rules you've ever seen?
My name... Oh, wait, no, actually, first I got to say, we got to make sure you look at our socials. The Facebook page, the A340 podcast, at Instagram, at A340 podcast. We'll keep posting all the trade news as the trade weekend wraps up next week on Wednesday. My name has been Alex Catalano.
I was just going to say, we also are thinking, guys,
Oh,
of
I've gone early
filming
again.
some episodes.
Yes.
So please leave some feedback below if you would like to see that on the YouTube channel. If it's boring just looking at photos, we could probably set up a camera and get that filmed. We're thinking November, so if you guys would like to go ahead, please leave some comments and suggestions.
Yep.
Go again, sorry.
That's everything. Thank you. My name has been Alex Catalano.
I've been Alex Miller.
I've been Alex Doherty.
And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here next week.
Yep.